Welcome, people. Welcome to my global Philatelic project channel. Here we will talk about philately. That means stamps, or timbre, or seios if you want, or brief market, even francobolli or znaczki. So let's go. The topic today is war in Ukraine, postal and philatelic consequences. How much and in which way this war changed the postal system and philatelic programs in Russia and Ukraine and in the rest of the world. That's what we will analyze. But because this topic is too big, I decided to split it in 3 different videos. The first video, this one, I want to analyze the consequences of war in the Russian and Ukrainian postal system. In the second video, I will talk about the philatelic consequences in Russia and Ukrainian stamps. And in the third video, I will show you how the rest of the philatelic world react at this war. So, be calm, take a rest, sit down, and now music. As always, let's start from the beginning. Russian invasion began in 20th of February 2022. From the first day, the conflict involved exclusively Ukrainian territory. Consequently, the Russian post office did not suffer many major repercussions about it. There were no particular delays or problems related to the conflict. In Russian, even areas subject to Ukrainian military action, some rockets sometimes, got no problem in mail distribution. So, Russian Federal Postal Service suffered because of the embargo made by the Western country, but this reduced the ability to send or receive letters or parcels from outside, from abroad. However, this is not affected the functioning of the internal communication system. The situation in Ukraine was obviously different. In the first weeks, the entire state bureaucratic system, apart from the army, collapsed. The postal system was not an exception. The problem was not only the lack of workers who had fled, died, or gone to fight, but the difficulty to delivering letters or parcel, in destroying buildings or to dead or escaped people. Day by day, as you remember, the situation changed. The war concentrated in a southeast area. In the rest of the nation, the Ukrainian state in general, and the postal system in particular, started to work again. Therefore, we can divide Ukraine in 2 areas. One, relatively quiet and functioning, and the other, the one under the Russian occupation or disputed between the parts. There's also a third area, that is Crimea. But this part of territory is under Russian control from a long time, so they normally use the Russian postal system from a long time. And I have to say that in that peninsula, the delivery was and is normal. So the question is, what happened in the southern east part of Ukraine, the one under the Russian control? The postal system back to be operative, and in this case, with what rules and with which kind of stamps they use. Also in this case, it's necessary to divide the story in two parts. As you remember, there was a referendum in September 2022 in which the authority decided to annex all the Ukrainian territory occupied by Russia. From that moment on, all this part of the territory became Russia. Therefore, all the institutions became a part of Russia and following its law. So the currency, stamps, and tariff tax from that moment on were the Russian ones. So after the referendum, Russian stamps and tariffs are used in the occupied area. But what happened before the referendum in September 22? Which stamp was used before the referendum? Here we are talking about philately. So for us is important this topic. Were Ukrainian stamps or Russian stamps? I don't think that Ukrainian stamps, because there were not Ukrainian territory anymore, because Russian occupied it. But even Russian stamps were not right, because they were not part of a Russian Federation before the referendum. So maybe they use Ukrainian stamps overprinted, I don't know, occupied area or something like this. Or maybe they use Russian stamps with overprinted occupied area. As far I understand from my information in the field, mail distribution and the postal system in general did not work and still does not work in a Russia-occupied area. So, apparently, the problem does not exist. If the post doesn't work, there is no postal history. But be careful, because I'm only informed about some area in Donbass, but not about the entire territory occupied. That is a really big amount of square kilometers, with small village, with big city, and so on. So it may be that in some area the postal system worked. So in this case, if someone has information about this, please share it in this video chat. Of course, for collector of postal history, this moment of transition between one state and the other, or during occupation, or during a war, are, this moment, very important and very rare. So please, if you got some information, share in the video chat. So the war has split Ukrainian into also from a postal point of view. A part of the nation has returned to making the post office work in a normal way, or more or less in a normal way. But the other side, the southern east part, the one occupied, remained blocked. And apparently, there's no perspective to move it. It's evident that also the stamps, and in general the Philatelic program, receive really a great shock from this situation. I'm talking about, in particular, Ukrainian. But this is the topic of the next video. So thank you to follow me until here. This is the second video and I'm very happy to arrive until the end. I hope that you like it. And by the way, if you like it, please put a like, or subscribe to the channel to have the more information about my next video. And see you next video. Bye bye.